Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So the new Godzilla vs. Kong movie is coming out soon, and I really liked Godzilla vs. Kong, so this is Godzilla X Kong, A New Empire, and so I am kind of looking forward to it, because I actually like Godzilla vs. Kong. I thought it was a lot of fun, and I really liked Kong Skull Island as well, so I decided to go back and watch the 2014 Godzilla movie, the one that kind of started this era of the new Godzilla Kong movies. So I went back to watch that. Now, I've never seen the original Godzilla movies, the Toho movies from Japan. I've never seen any of those. I think I did maybe see that like Matthew Broderick one in the 90s. And I know that's like not really counted as a Godzilla movie. So, and I don't even remember it. But I did see the 2014 movie after it came out. And I liked it. I enjoyed it. I haven't really seen it since then. So I thought I'd go back and watch it and kind of just give my thoughts. And because I remember it kind of got panned a little bit for the story. And so I just kind of thought, well, I'll go back and watch it. And then I can, watch the other movies leading up to the new Godzilla X Kong movie. So these are going to be my review, my thoughts on the 2014 Godzilla. So the opening credits of the movie are like this, like the nuclear testing and everything, and that was done in like the 40s and the 50s. The bombs blowing up and everything, and like the testing in Japan, and then like you can see like these cool like Godzilla fins floating through the water. I really like the opening credits. I thought that was cool. And then the movie starts in the Philippines in 1999 with the discovery of a giant fossil. And I believe we later find out that it was like a Godzilla type monster. But there's this big hollowed out fossil that has been emitting radiation, and these miners in the Philippines they were blowing explosives, and they discovered this it's like a cavern, because the fossil had preserved into a big hollow cavern. And so they also find a cocoon. They find a cocoon that's just been sitting there, and then they see that one of them had already hatched and it ran away. And that it ran away and it swam to the nearest nuclear site, which was in Japan, the nuclear power plant in Japan. And this is one of the main characters. So then we switch to Bryan Cranston's character. Now, if you've seen the trailers for this, he was all over the trailers. Everybody thought, oh, what a great movie starring Bryan Cranston. And then, you see the movie and they do, a bait and switch. Bryan Cranston, dies, a third into the movie. But so then, in 1999, this parasite goes to the power plant, where just so happens to be Bryan Cranston's character is working at. And it causes this big destruction, and his wife ends up dying. And because of that, he, becomes obsessed with this government conspiracy, because they're covering it up. They don't want to say what it was. And then we later find out that they call it MUTO, M-U-T-O, and it stands for Massive Unidentified Terrestrial Organism. So the MUTO sucked up the nuclear energy and then just went into another cocoon. And then we jump ahead to 2014. So the MUTO has just been in the cocoons absorbing energy for 15 years. And Bryan Cranston's character was a seismologist or something for the nuclear power plant. He's testing the seismic activity because of, the creature going underground and everything. And so he's definitely a conspiracy nut. And so he ends up getting caught trying to break into this quarantine zone. And his son, Aaron Taylor Johnson's character, Ford, he has to go get him and everything. And so we're 15 years later, Aaron Taylor Johnson's Ford is in the army. And he's Bryan Cranston's son, so he was real little when his mom died. But so anyway, he lives in San Francisco, and his wife is played by Elizabeth Olsen. And this was actually, I think, the same year, a year before Age of Ultron came out, and there they played brother and sister. So just a little cool reunion here. But she's given nothing to do here. She doesn't, it could have been anybody. But I do love Elizabeth Olsen. And I like Aaron Taylor Johnson, too. I thought he's okay here. He's not great. But so anyway, so he has to go get his dad. And then they, break into the quarantine zone, but then they're captured by the government, and they're taken to the test site. And Bryan Cranston, expels his whole theory about what's been going on, and And so the other character who discovered the fossils in the Philippines in 1999, he comes into play, and he's like, this guy might be right. Like, we gotta listen to him. And then so that's when the Muto bursts out of its cocoon, has like this like electric like field or something happens with like the nuclear energy, electricity, something or other. Anyway, Bryan Cranston ends up dying. But of course then they bring Ford in because they want to know what his dad's research was all about. And it's just kind of like, it's not the best way to bring this character into it, because obviously he is not the one that's been studying any of this. Why would he know whatever's going on? He is in the Army, or the Navy or something. He's in some sort of military, but he's not really like a part of this. So it's just kind of like, well, your dad was, so let's bring you in to this super secretive government conspiracy thing we're doing here that nobody's supposed to know about. Anyways, so it escapes, and then it heads towards to Hawaii for some reason. And Aaron Taylor Johnson's character is like he wants to go back home. So he's trying to get a ride home. So he ends up getting a ride also to Hawaii, where he was going to transfer back over to San Francisco. But so it escapes, it was dormant this whole time, and they find out that it's actually a parasite. And it's the two parasites that killed that big Godzilla creature that was the fossil. So, for 15 years it's been, absorbing the radiation, so it's very powerful. It's like powered up now. It's like, it's been charging itself pretty much. Anyway, and so the Muto goes to Hawaii because it's following like the nuclear sub that went to Hawaii. And then about 55 minutes in the movie, we finally get Godzilla. I timed it. And so, Aaron Taylor Johnson's character's there, and he's like trying to rescue this boy that got separated from his parents. Anyways, Godzilla pops up, but he's like dark, he's like in like the shadows, and it's like cutaways, and so you can't like really see him. But it's still actually kind of a cool scene, and he kind of like scares the Muto away. And then both of them are like in the water, and like the Navy's like tracking them on their way to like San Francisco. But then the second cocoon that was in that fossil was actually stored in Nevada next to the nuclear waste. And so the military goes there and they look at it, and it's already broken out, and it's rampaging through Las Vegas, and it's on its way. So it's absorbed up all that nuclear radiation there, and it's bigger. It's the female, so it's bigger. The first one's smaller, has wings. It's the male. And so they're both converging. The two Mutos are converging towards the nuclear energy, and they end up in San Francisco, where Godzilla has followed them to San Francisco. And of course, Ford's character lives in San Francisco, so he's worried about his wife and his kid. So he hops on the train that's carrying the nuclear missile to San Francisco. The Muto attacks it. He falls off a bridge and almost dies or something. But then he's saved, of course, and then he's brought in again to the government to help out, because he just happens to be a nuclear, or not, he's a bomb expert in the military, or whatever. Anyway, they bring him in for reasons to help out, and they try to lure the Mutos away out in the middle of the water with the bomb, where they're going to blow it up and hopefully kill the Mutos. But then Godzilla shows up, and Godzilla takes them out. And so it's actually a really cool scene. Godzilla's rampaging through San Francisco. He's battling the two Mutos, one of them, the bigger one, the smaller one that flies. He's got them. It's really cool. This is actually a cool design for Godzilla. I will say, though, I think I've never seen the original Godzilla movies, so I don't know, like what the scale is, but I kind of feel like this Godzilla is like scaled up too big. Like, he's a little too big. Like, I don't believe in the physics of this Godzilla. Like, he's too big. He would weigh like so much that I'm not even sure the ground could like sustain him. Like, because there's like subway systems under the city of like San Francisco, and it's built on like very shaky grounds on the water. Like some of San Francisco's was like built up by sand piles. Like, so I'm not sure Godzilla can like withstand San Francisco, the weight of this huge monster. He's a little too big for me, but he looks cool. And then when he charges up, his atomic breath looks awesome. Got the blue going up the spine, and then he comes out, and then he literally like rips the jaw of the Muto and then breathes his atomic breath down his mouth. That was super cool. It was cool the first time I saw it. It's still awesome the second time I saw it. So I do like this Godzilla. I like the fight. I think it's really cool. And then they do end up, because the nuclear bomb was like on a timer, so Ford ends up taking it out in the ocean. He was just going to die with it, leaving his wife and child that he was so desperate to get back to. But just in time, the military snatches him off the boat and the boat explodes. And then Godzilla, passes out because he's super tired. And when he wakes up, he just goes right back in the ocean. It was really cool. But so, also Godzilla, there's a cool scene with Godzilla shows up where they're throwing bombs at him on the Golden Gate Bridge and destroys the Golden Gate Bridge. That was a pretty cool scene too. So everything with Godzilla here is awesome. You don't get a lot of Godzilla, but it's awesome. The Mutos are kind of interesting. They kind of remind me of the Cloverfield monster. They're kind of just a generic alien looking. I guess they're supposed to be parasites, so maybe that explains it. And they're all right. They're kind of interesting monsters. The fact that they just absorb the radiation is kind of cool. And they walk on they look kind of like giant spiders walking around. They're kind of cool. And those are the main monsters that we're dealing with. And then Godzilla comes in to battle them. And then of course you get the line, let them fight. So that's cool. And so that's a good character. Ken Watanabe's character, I don't remember his character name. His assistant is Sally Hawkins from The Shape of Water, which was kind of interesting to see her in here because I didn't remember she's in here. Ken Watanabe's character is really cool. I wish we had more of him and more for him to do. Why isn't he the main character instead of this Ford character that does nothing? Or is just inserted. So I guess the main problem and the criticism most people have is the actual story. Why are we spending time with Ford? Why do we get the bait and switch of Bryan Cranston? I do feel we could have cleaned this up a bit if we had maybe just focused on Ken Watanabe. If Ken Watanabe's character was Bryan Cranston's best friend, BFF, and they're working on it together, that could have been cool. And then Bryan Cranston dies, and then we switch over to Ken Watanabe, right? That could have been cool. Why we're making it Ford, and he's got to get back to his family. That in the end doesn't matter because he's about to go off on a boat and die anyway. That storyline does not really work out well. I like Aaron Taylor Johnson, so I don't think it's his fault. I think he does fine. I think his accent's a little, because he's British, and so his American accent always kind of sounds a little scooch off. But I do like him. I love Elizabeth Olsen. She's wasted in the role of the nurse wife. But so the actual story element doesn't really work that well. But I can get past that because I do like the monster element. The kaiju element I do think works pretty well here. And, it does take a long time to get to Godzilla. It's almost an hour to get to the first Godzilla. And I do wish if we just tighten that up a little bit, could have been really good. But overall, I still enjoyed watching this movie. And I do think that it was, a decent kickoff to what we go forward with these, although it does feel out of place. I think once we get to Godzilla, the second Godzilla movie, I think they I believe, I've only seen it once, but I believe they kind of retcon things like that. I think they stopped using the term Muto and they switched to Titans, and that's fine. But anyway, overall I still enjoy this movie. As somebody who's never seen any other Godzilla movies, I like this, and I am interested in seeing Godzilla -1. It just won the Academy Award for Best Visual Effects. So, and I heard it's a really great film. So I would like to watch that because I like the design of Godzilla on that one. That Godzilla looks awesome. This Godzilla looks great, and I believe they do change the design of his fins for Godzilla King of Monsters. And I think it still looks cool there. But yeah, my only complaint is this Godzilla just seems like he's too massive. How does he swim? How does he float? He seems just too massive. So it's the inside of him mostly hollow or what? Because otherwise I just believe his weight. And we'll get into the physics in Godzilla vs. Kong. That movie is just bonkers. Complete sci-fi. This one I do feel they tried to make it more grounded. They tried to make this somewhat believable. And then they just kind of go off the rails as they go further and further. We'll see if that works or not. But yeah, I enjoy this one. So let me know what you guys think for the 2014 Godzilla movie. Do you like it? Do you hate it? If you're a Godzilla purist, what are your thoughts? As somebody who hasn't seen the original Godzillas, yeah, I like it. I think it's pretty good. So be sure to hit the thumbs up button if you like the video. Subscribe to the channel for more content. I will be reviewing Kong Skull Island next. And leave your thoughts in the comments section below. So thank you for watching the video. And until next time, let them fight. Bye.